Yo, shalom, shalom. You are now tuned in to All That R.A.R.A with your Hebrew brother Mylo Judah. And All That R.A.R.A stands for Real and Rare Analysis. And as you brothers know, we dive into videos and give a real and rare analysis of them, whether they be a two-dimensional breakdown or a three-dimensional breakdown, or, if a video calls for us to have to dive into scriptures and break them down, we move accordingly. But today's episode, brothers, is going to be called Go Where You Are Wanted, Go Where You Are Needed. And there's going to be a sister who is on Kevin Samuel's show. And a sister, she dives into the mindset of the liberal so-called black woman today and what it's like dating in 2021. And I want you brothers to pay attention to the mindset of the so-called black woman, because this is one woman who speaks for the majority. And there are some good sisters out here, don't get it twisted, but 99.9% of them, they are crazy. And the so-called black woman, she is beautiful. She is delicate. It's nothing like her when she's in her right mind, brothers. And when she's not in her right mind, we see how they can get. We see the type of image that they put forth. We see what the masses see of the so-called black woman. And they think that that's your mom, that's your sister, that's your grandma. Whatever they see on TV, whatever they see on VH1 and BET. So a so-called black man, we have to steer the horns on this bull. And we have to turn this ship back right. And we have to steer our own ship, right? And that starts with building up our culture, getting rid of the women who are a cancer to our culture, and the brothers. We have to relegate them to themselves. We have to let them do them. You understand that, brothers? So with that being said, man, I want you brothers to take everything that these women say seriously. I tell you brothers that all the time. Take it literally. And with that being said, let's do some real and real analysis. Let's get it.
In this moment, yes, I cannot say what's wrong or right.
And let me just say, I don't necessarily agree with everything that Kevin Samuel says. I agree with about 99.5% of the things that he says. But just, on a bigger scope, a lot of our women, they absolutely hate him. And it's funny because he's only holding the mirror up to him. He's gifted. Like when you read the scriptures, when you read 1 Corinthians chapter 12, when Paul is breaking down different gifts that the Most High gives men, but it's, they're all from the Most High. This brother, Kevin Samuels, he's definitely gifted at being patient, because I tell you, man, I would not be able to sit here and hold all these conversations with these different liberal women, but at the same time, it's needed, because brothers need to see this, and women need to see this. Brothers need to see exactly how these liberal women are thinking and how they see the so-called black man and how they see themselves above the so-called black man. Brothers, most of these women don't respect you, man. Even the ones who are on social media screaming Black Lives Matter and we love our black man, giving you all the compliments. And the ones who are marching, the moment you disagree with them, watch how they try to belittle and emasculate you, so-called black man. Always remember that.
Good.
So,
What's your disagreement?
my disagreement is just basically about the fact that black women shouldn't have to feel obligated to smile to black men. We're holding a lot of trauma. We're holding a lot of problems.
So, brothers, first things first, she said she doesn't feel as if so-called black women should be obligated to smile towards so-called black men. And, she said that so-called black women are holding a lot of trauma and a lot of problems. it's pretty funny how they always try to pull the victim card, but in the same breath, they love to say how, black girls rock and, you know, black girl power and black girl magic and all of this stuff, which is, like I said, that's their prerogative. But at the same time, you can't try to sit here and uphold this image of strength when truth be told, you don't even want to smile because you're holding in so much trauma and so many problems. Like who today isn't going through some form of problems, or who hasn't went through some form of trauma? That's no excuse to be an asshole. But as we can see here, this sister is speaking for the majority of the way these liberal women think, brothers. And, they don't even want to smile at you. But they want you to protect them. Protect black women no matter what, even though we don't want to smile at you.
Mental health issues.
Hold on. How old are you?
And she also said mental health issues. So, that begs the question for me, why should I be listening to you? Are you even in your right mind?
24.
I'm gonna say this one more time. I need you to pay attention. I need all black women to pay attention. The world does not owe you understanding or me understanding.
And I agree with that. The world doesn't owe you understanding. I don't expect anyone except my loved ones, to just stop and ask, what's the matter with me? What's wrong with me if I'm moping around on a certain day? That's not their problem. So for her to, the first thing she runs to is, the victimization card. It's pretty funny, because at the same time, what if that was a man excuse? Sisters, they would look at him crazy. They call him a bitch, all kind of shit.
If you have all this trauma, go seek professional help, because the rest of us do not have to suffer you.
Right. You expect me to get to know you and court you and love you and provide for you and protect you, and I'm dealing with someone who's traumatized from previous things that happened in their life, which I'm not blaming them for that, but at the same time, it's just like, that's what you want to run to justify your actions instead of seeking help to remove, those certain character traits. It's this stuff is pretty funny.
Okay, it's easy to tell black women and black people
Do you not
in the black community to get help.
Whose responsibility is it to get the help they need?
But it's not available readily to our community.
That is
that
bullshit.
Easily.
That's definitely bullshit. That's definitely bullshit.
With the wealth gap growing, how many people
Whose
can
responsibility is it to get the mental health they need?
Her face lets you know that she knows her answer was bullshit.
Who?
It is ultimately the responsibility of us to get the mental health that we need. But I'm letting you know that we are very underserved.
But we don't want to seek it because we don't want to take that accountability. We don't want people telling us what's wrong with us. We'd rather just project onto men and tell them what's wrong with them. And truth be told, we're telling them what's wrong with us.
You can't make this stuff up. So you say we're underserved. You got to tell me that the therapists that already exist are overloaded. We don't go get help, ma'am.
It's pretty ironic, brothers, that she would sit here and complain about, black women are underserved and they shouldn't smile at men because they go through a lot of trauma and a lot of pain and they're holding a lot of problems in. And then to double back and say, ultimately the responsibility is on us to go get help. So are you underserved, or are you just not going to get the help? Because if ultimately the responsibility is on you to go get it, but you're not receiving it, the help is not going to come to you. You have to go get it. And everywhere I turn, I see ads. I see brothers pandering to black women. Seems like y'all are overserved, if you ask me. Everything is catered to you.
You just had a therapist on here before. I talked to psychiatrists, and first of all, understand who you're talking to. I know hundreds of, anyway. What do black people tend to deal with? How do black women tend to deal with their mental health issues? With a licensed clinician or with Jesus?
We know the answer to this question. They go to church. And I like the way he worded this question. Even though it's obvious that the brother Kevin Samuels is not a follower of the scriptures, you know, just the way he worded this question, do they go get help or do they go to the church where they are told that, you know, it's not your season right now, but you drop $10, $20 in this bucket and God gonna turn everything around?
That is what's pushed to us since
No,
from the age of we are little.
No, ma'am.
That's something we grow
I
up with.
asked who. Let's see. I asked who they see. We're not gonna play. I'm not gonna play the lily pad game. Did they go to a clinician or did they go to the church?
The church most often.
All right, and these are educated. Most of these women are educated, and they've heard about therapy. They make the choice not to go. No different than, I'm gonna switch it up. No different than women understand and hear that being 200 pounds and 5 foot tall is unhealthy. But yet 80% of our women are overweight and 80% of that is obese. They know the truth. They choose to do something else.
And the funny thing about that is, you know, these women today, they push for obesity, but the moment they get mad at each other and disagree with each other, if one of them is petite and the other one is overweight, what do you think the petite one is going to say about the overweight one? The first thing she's going to do is attack her weight, attack how she looks. But in the same breath, they get mad at men, or specifically they get mad at Kevin Samuels for asking women to rate themselves. I mean, brothers, like he just said, you can't make this stuff up.
The narrative pushed to us most often is that a guy wants a woman with a big ass. He wants, you know, a thick lady.
This conversation went from women shouldn't be obligated to smile at black men because they are traumatized, they are holding on to problems, they have mental issues, and they are underserved, to the narrative is men want a woman with a big ass and a thick woman. What are you talking about? What does that have to do with the topic at hand?
Accountability. Accountability is kryptonite to modern women. Ma'am, you say the traumas? If I accept them, then you got to do something about them. Because what about the traumas that the black man has to deal with? But we still have to get out here and be functioning people in society, contributing. You don't get to walk around and say, have a special victim status.
Right, and as I said earlier, if a man, period, but you know, if a so-called black man was to complain about his mental state and the way society treats him, then society would just look at him and call him a bitch. This woman here, I guarantee you that she would just look at that man and call him a bitch and call him weak. So, you know, as Kevin Samuels alluded to earlier, society doesn't owe us understanding. But at the same time, you know, she's trying to get us to understand the plight of women. But truth be told, women do not care about the plight of men. And when I say women and men, I'm speaking about so-called black women and so-called black men. They only care about our plight, you know, when it's beneficial to them, when they can gain attention from it. So, you know, these sisters who scream Black Lives Matter and how much they love you, brothers, take it with a grain of salt.
I'm not saying we should have a special victim status, but our circumstance is different. We are women.
It's just
So-called black women, they look at being a woman as being an entirely different race than being so-called black. It's funny. It's funny. But at the same time, they get mad at Karens. But they act like Karens. It's crazy.
We are
Okay,
less
you're
logical.
24 years old. Is your circumstance harder or easier than your grandmother and your great grandmother?
Exponentially easier. We have
Right.
access to
Great.
information we didn't have.
Exponentially easier, but you're handling it worse.
Not only did she say that it's easier, but she said exponentially easier. We have access to information that we didn't have. So what are you saying? That you are just weak compared to your grandmother? I bet this is the type of, individual who would share a tweet or a Facebook status or an Instagram post that says, we are not our ancestors, we fight back. But you could tell just by the spirit of this woman that she's off as hell. And that, any man who decides to deal with her, that man is going to have a headache every day. He's going to wake up with headaches. So brothers, you always got to be careful, man, and pay attention to the things that these women say. Are you needed, brothers? Go where you are wanted. Go where you are needed.
Your grandmother and your great-grandmother actually could work with a black man with more trauma.
Because they understood that the black woman and the black man are on the same side. Now that we're all free and independent and we could do whatever we want to, why would we seek to, be one with the black man?
Hey, I hope you brothers heard that, man. I hope you brothers heard that. Why would we seek to be one with the black man? How many of them do you think feel like that? Brothers, do you see that trend going around on TikTok saying that one time I dated a white guy or something like that, something of that nature? And all these so-called black women are parading around showing you that they're proud swirlers. This woman just flat out said, why should we be one with the so-called black man? So, as I said, brothers, go where you are wanted, man. Go where you are needed. Because these liberal women do not want you. They don't want anything to do with you. They want to see you dead. They call them brothers bullet bags and, the white people of black people. You know what I'm saying? So, I always say this, it would behoove you, brothers, to take the things that these women say literally. Take it very serious because they are telling you exactly how they feel about you. They don't care about you. They don't love you, so-called black man. So that lets you know that you have to love yourself first and foremost. Of course, love the Most High first and foremost. But, we speaking on the two-dimensional level. So, brothers, you got to love yourself, man. You have to treat yourself correctly. You know what I'm saying? Look in the mirror every day and ask yourself, am I proud of myself? Right? Because if you find yourself trying to get your confidence from a woman, they're going to tear you down. They're going to say little stuff like this. Why would I seek to be one with you? Are we independent now? But in the same breath, she's on Kevin Samuel's show. You understand that? So it's just, like I say, so-called black man, you just always got to stay on your P's and Q's and be cautious. Be aware of everything that's going on around you, in front of you and around you.
We
Thank
even
you.
think that being...
Thank you. Clip it, slice it, put it on World Star. She said it, not me.
Right.
Now that you're independent, you
We
don't
don't
need to
have
be with.
trust.
There you go.
We don't
There
have
you go.
trust in the
And
black
there
man.
and there
Talk about trust. Trust is a bitch.
you go. And there you go.
And, she said we don't have trust with the black man. And I agree with that to an extent. It's a lot of brothers who are still very emotional and very tentative with women. Brother, just be yourself. Tell her what it is and what it isn't. Put your foot down. Because when you lie to someone, you force them not to be able to trust you. Right? And then, of course, we have women out here like this who truthfully don't even want you. Right? So You know, it's hell have no fury like a woman scorned. Right? So, you know, your woman got to be able to trust you, brother. She has to be able to trust you.
There you go, black man. There it is. She's finally got one to say it.
Build businesses with us.
Your
Help us
grandmothers,
not
your
go.
grandmothers, and your grandmother.
Shorty said, build businesses with us. Help us. And then her service cut out. But do you see the mindset of the liberal woman? I said, they want to be you. They want to be the man. They don't want to be the helpmeet. So, brothers, it's on you to find a woman who knows her role, who knows why the Most High created her to be a woman and to be your helpmeet. You know, you don't want to be a servant for her sake. And don't get it twisted. Don't think that I'm saying, you know, it's something wrong with starting a business with or even starting a business for your woman or women. But, you know, these women, they are coming in from the tip off, you know, first dribble saying, start a business with us. Like, who are you? I don't even know you. I don't know how you are with money. I don't know if you'll get a loan and run off. I don't know you. What are you talking about?
And your great grandmothers had more trauma and more stress and did it better. They have exponentially less and they're handling it worse. But it's because they're free and can do what the hell they want to. They'll need to be with you. So you don't need to feel any guilt for taking care of you, for putting yourself first and making your passion, your purpose, your priority. You don't need to feel guilty because this 24-year-old woman just said it. They don't feel any guilt about it. Thank you.
Facts. I agree.
So don't ask black men to care about your traumas when you can't even smile at us.
'Cause I'm addicted to the good life. Yeah.
So yeah, brothers, you know, just stay on your P's and Q's. Pay attention to everything that these women say because, you know, in a roundabout way, they're telling you the truth. And even if they lie to you, they're telling you the truth because someone who lies to you, they don't care about you. Right? And, you know, even when they say little things like, you know, we're independent now, why should we be one with the black man? Don't try to convince someone like that of why they should be with you. Go where you are wanted and go where you are needed, so-called black man. And with that being said, brothers, that's all that R.A.R.A, man. Yo.